a stream marathon for me. I just got off the Archcast, which was quite consuming because it was like 2 hours in a row. And I just took a little break. But I'm here now. I'm here. Like, thank you for waiting. I appreciate it. I'm not being late on purpose. I said it on the Archcast. A lot of people are like, V, you're playing the algorithm. I wish I was that savvy. Like, I wish I was that Machiavellian. But no, I'm legitimately just late because I'm procrastinating. So I got an interesting question from someone. And I, never thought about it up until now. What happens, like, if you commit a crime, are you going to tell the lawyer if you did it or not? Right? It's an interesting question. So you commit a crime, you get a lawyer, you lawyer up, and do you tell him if you're guilty? The answer is most lawyers, and I think all of them actually, they will never ask you if you're guilty or not. Like, they will ask you certain questions in order to defend you. And you're not supposed to tell them more than that. Like, you're not supposed to tell them more than they ask. And I will tell you why. In most jurisdictions, in fact, I think it's almost everywhere on the world, a lawyer is not going to have to tell the things that you have done, right? So he cannot be pressured into saying, because you have like the client, like the lawyer-client confidentiality. So he's not going to say the things that you have done in the past, right? But if you tell the lawyer that you are going to commit a crime, then they have to inform it. So basically, if you tell a lawyer that you're guilty, and then the lawyer knows you're going to lie on the stand, well, he's going to recuse himself from the case. And if you actually tell him you're going to tell the truth on the stand, and then you lie, then the lawyer has to tell the judge and recuse himself from the case. So, for instance, let's say you tell the lawyer you're guilty, and then you're being cross-examined, and the prosecutor asks something of you that the lawyer knows you have done, and you lie. Then the lawyer has to tell the judge. So this is why lawyers do not ask if you're guilty or not. Like, they will ask different questions, but they never. And you should never lie to a lawyer either. Because the thing is, like, the lawyer knows what evidence is against you. And they need to prepare the defense. Now, if there is other types of evidence, like, he needs to know about it so he can think about how to defend you if that evidence pops up. But if you lie to the lawyer and he doesn't expect new evidence, and then new evidence pops up, he can be taken by surprise. So I hope I managed to inform people. Well, I mean, yeah, like, lawyers are there to defend guilty people as well. The purpose of a lawyer, theoretically, is to make sure that if you're supposed to get 2 years in prison, you get 2 years in prison and not 5. So they do defend guilty people. That's not the problem. The problem is, if you tell a lawyer that you have done it, then they expect that on the stand you will not lie about it. And many times, people on the stand, even witnesses, even they will not try to flat out lie, but they will try to obfuscate, to ignore context, to omit the truth. So hopefully I answered the question. He's not supposed to knowingly lie either. I mean, yeah, like, a lawyer is not supposed to knowingly lie, but it's part of the job, You're basically valued based on how much you help your client. So theoretically, like, a lawyer, as I mentioned, is supposed to, like, make sure you're getting the adequate punishment, or you're getting not convicted if you're innocent. But in reality, they are being prized for how well they defend their client. Okay. I love the joke that Arch made, because now I'm being abused by it. So it's not funny that Sargon got demonetized on YouTube, right? Like, he got all of his channels demonetized, and he keeps filing appeals. And recently, YouTube has said that if you get demonetized, then you're not going to wait the same 30 days period, but it's now 60 days. And Arch is making a joke that YouTube does this because Sargon asked too much. American Outlier has been a member for 2 months. V, the super chats might be sparingly for you for a while because after 20 years, my truck finally said, you know what, I quit. So I had to spend the last 2 days finding a replacement. However, thank you for the shout out on Archcast. Well, American Outlier, I mean, you donated so much that I'm really grateful. I never expect stuff, you know, like when you're here, so it's fine. You know, if I do not ask people to donate more than they feel like. I'm not going to go like, oh, please give me money. Please, I need money. Yeah. It's just that if you think that the content is worthwhile and if it's amusing and you have money to spare, you're going to get the best buyer's remorse on the internet. Although I heard that Darkside Phil might be giving better buyer's remorse than I do because, unfortunately, I don't scream at my chat. Like, I need to be like DSP, you know? Like, after you get a donation, you should argue and be aggressive to the person that donate. So Zenith, tell me, is the hyena girl the kettle? Because this is something that transpired. A lot of people have told me that the kettle is joining Vishojo, which is very interesting. It's interesting information. No kettle, no peace. So will we have peace is the question. Yeah, that video game, you know, like I know behind the scene regarding Hogwarts, it really took a significant blow into the Vtubing industry. Like that, I know for a fact, like 2 contracts that were broken because of Hogwarts, because the corporation just said to the talent, you're not allowed to play it, and the talent went like, okay, this is absolutely ridiculous. Fuck you, we're leaving, and they joined other corporations. It makes sense since Kayson is over there, probably. But I think like she's on the Japanese branch, so I think it will be super hilarious if it turns out to be another Centralia with the synthesize. I do not know what that means. Wookiee is out from Kashyyyk and yet Chewbacca is from Endor. What do you mean that doesn't make sense? It's like saying British people are from Britain and yet this British person is from Israel. It's like, okay. Why wouldn't it make sense? Anyway, let me... By the way, what video games are coming out? I think we have Street Fighter that I'm interested in. Like, that's a cool game that's coming out. But other than that, I genuinely do not know. The question is, like, right now, the gaming industry is at such a low point that the question isn't if a game is good or not. The question is, like, will it work? Like, the last 4 AAA games that I can think of were broken on launch. Like, to the point... I mean, hell, Diablo 4 was burning graphics cards. Now, I know, it's the company's fault, the graphics company fault. But, like, if they would have beta tested, like, if they would have done internal beta testing, that was such a popular graphics card, there's no fucking way they wouldn't catch it. This is why the games are coming broken, because they do not have beta testing. When does Tekken release? I'm sorry, but I do not play LGBT games. I do not know. I wish I could help you, but unfortunately, I cannot. You know, if you ask me about proper fighting games, like Street Fighter, maybe Mortal Kombat, like I can give you news on that, but Tekken, no, sorry. I cannot. Starfield in September. That's interesting. HoloCure is on Steam. That is true. Redfall was something to behold. Man, the moment I see diversity in a video game, it kind of tells me it's a bad game. Like, in the trailer, right? Like, when the first thing that I see is diversity, I'm like, all right, it's one of those games. I wish I was wrong. You know, like, I wish there was, like, a game that advertised diversity and you play it and it's actually really good. But ever since Dragon Age 3, like, the moment I see, like, the patterns, the moment I see, like, some of the symptoms of diversity, inclusivity, and equity, I'm like, okay, so this is a bad game. And I haven't been wrong since. GTA 5, oh yeah, GTA. When is it coming out? Apparently, it's one of the most expensive games ever made. I think it will be popular, right? Unless they release it broken at launch, which is a possibility. I mean, we live in the age of potty gal, which is causing games to be broken on launch. I think it will be popular. Like, even if GTA 5 is, like, the worst... Sorry, GTA 6. even if GTA 6 is like the worst game ever made in the series, like we're talking Saints Row type of bad, Forspoken type of bad, it doesn't matter. People will buy it. Why? Because the brand, right? Now, it will affect the sales of GTA 7, but GTA 6 is definitely going to do well. That's my assessment. Dead Island 2 is fun. I can't play it. It's not on Steam. I do not get games that are not on Steam. System Shock Remake. I never played System Shock, so I might actually enjoy System Shock Remake. Vampire should be old, all pale, and homoerotic Europeans. By the way, what happened with Vampire the Masquerade, the sequel? I heard they were making it so fucking woke that you would get trigger warnings before playing an actual episode of the game. So like, the game was, well, not episodic, but it had, like, quests, right? And if a quest was triggering, it would give you a trigger warning and you could skip the quest. Like, that was just so mindfuck. Like, no other game did that. And thank God they canceled the game. I think, like, they took it back to the drawing board and they're writing it again. But, like, can you imagine just how woke that game was? Like, if that was a thing. And then there was, like, another Vampire the Masquerade. Wasn't a AAA game, but it was also woke as fuck. Like, you played like, it was so fucking boring. It was just talking and talking about nonsense, and the dialogue was something that humans wouldn't say. All the devs got fired too. Soma. See, I'm trying to represent the horror from Soma into my video game. Like, hopefully I will manage. But it's difficult to catch that type of horror. That's not about jump scares. That's not about something just popping up in front of your screen or showing you disturbing images. No, it's like existential horror. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom just came out. It's going to be Game of the Year. You can emulate it on PC. By the way, a VTuber graduated because she talked about emulations. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Zelda because I never played the originals, and I think like a really big chunk of Zelda is to have the nostalgia. Like if you're just a new person that plays Zelda for the first time, it's like meh. I played Breath of the Wild, and there was this guy that said, "Oh, I'm going to give you a kite in order to fly off the island where you start," and I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I did the quest line for him, and then he doesn't give me the kite, and I out F4. I'm not going to play the game. Like, you took me for a sucker. Horrible game. You lied to me. I don't like NPCs lying to me. I couldn't kill him either. Like, I was really upset. I felt betrayed. The Telltale version. Yeah, the Telltale version of that game was horrible. Pop culture, vampires are gay and women like them. See, this is why I'm trying to make pop culture succubi so that men like them. Like a succubi should be the female version of a vampire. Like, she should be the female version of Edward from Twilight. But she has a different way of drain. She doesn't drain blood, but she still kills. That's how it should be. That's a proper lady. You should be used to getting scammed by Romanians. Unironically, Romanians don't scam. Like what Romanians are renowned for is like and I'm telling you this as a Romanian, it's pickpocketing, right? Fortunately, we didn't have that much pickpocketing going on lately either, because most pickpocketers left for the European Union, where you can pickpocket more. But scamming in Romania is not that common. I mean, it happens, every country has scammers, but it's not really that popular. Like when someone calls you in order to scam you, or gives you an email that's a scam, how often it is a Romanian? Ask yourself this. When I first played Pitfall, I didn't know you could walk to another screen. I just kept jumping on the same log. Talk about the existential horror. Unfortunately, I do. Oh yeah, Pitfall. I know what Pitfall is. Okay. You got to talk about these things. Like, a lot of people think that crime is diverse. If you grow up on the neighborhood, even in prison, it's not very diverse. Like, they don't have HR departments. Criminal organizations usually are based on this. Like they start from the same neighborhood, and because of that, it's people from that area that are part of the crime community, if you will. And then they take a certain profession. Like, for example, one gang can do gambling, another gang can do drugs, and they don't step on each other so that there's peace and understanding. Romanians lost their culture. The problem with, I can tell you why that is, right? Like, why this specific crime existed is because under communism, they wouldn't police actual crime as much as they would police ideological crime. So if you did the counter-revolutionary action or whatever the fuck they call, they would police that. But they wouldn't like really bother policing pickpocketing and petty theft and that type of thing. So that's how it flourished. And take into account, like, it was difficult times. You know, the economy wasn't doing very well. Let's look at some of the news before we talk about the Twitter thing. Apparently, Henry Cavill says he prefers playing video games than hanging out with people. See, the thing with Henry Cavill is, I genuinely can't tell if he's a real gamer or not. But he comes across as being incredibly genuine. Like, this picture alone tells me that he actually does have a computer. But there's something wholesome about it, isn't it? It's just a man holding a computer. There is, you know, women like Tucker Carlson when he was in the shed and he had the power tools and stuff. I like this. You know, I want to be his bro. I want to go to his house and play at the LAN party or something. But, yeah, he comes across as someone that, like, legitimately is a gamer. Like, he doesn't fake it just to be like, oh, well, I want to pretend to be a gamer in order to be with the community or in order to be liked by my fans. No, he's, like, legitimately 100% gamer quality. Right? He plays video games. That's what he does. And he's very beloved by people. Interesting, right? Like, he doesn't talk about social justice. He doesn't talk about all of that nonsense. It's just like, yeah, I play video games. I don't wanna go out. I don't wanna talk with people. I like playing video games. That sounds like New York. How they are prosecuting the Marine for helping citizens in the subway. I will tell you something else that I noticed. So this is really bizarre. New York, as you pointed out, they are definitely prosecuting the Marine. Now I don't know what like the whole story. The thing is, from what I understand, and I may be wrong, all right? Like, please correct me if I get my news wrong. The homeless person that was strangulated by the Marine, he didn't attack anyone. Like, he was being unruly, but he didn't, like, try to hurt anybody, right? Like, he didn't get physical. So, choking a man just for, like, starting shit, that's a crime. Because it's not self-defense. Now, please correct me if I get my story wrong. I may get it wrong. So if I get it wrong, like, please tell me. But from what I know and from what I've seen in the media, you have a homeless person that's very unruly, right? Disrespectful. He gets into other people's faces, right? And then the Marine gets him from behind along with two other people. And as he strangulates him, the guy dies. Right. So, I'm sorry to say this, but this looks like murder. I mean, look, if it happened in my country, regardless of the skin color or anything like that, watch the video, you are out of touch. Okay, what did you do? Like let me know. Because I watched a couple of videos, but, like, they're from the mainstream media and they're edited out. 3 people felt he was a threat. Yeah, but, like, feeling that someone is a threat versus someone actually being a threat is a difference. Did he punch anyone? Did he attack anyone? Did he pull a gun? Like, that's what I want to know. right? Like, was he legitimately, objectively a threat? Because that's how the law looks at it. No, I haven't seen the video, so I'm asking chat. Like, did he actually harm someone? Did he put his hands on a passenger with the intention to kill? Right? Did he try to pull out a gun? Did he pull a knife? Did he threaten people with a bomb? Did he do any of those? He threatened to kill them. Okay, but like, if that's not the same. Like, if you threaten to kill someone, can you actually do it? At least that's how the law would look like in my car. Like, if I threaten to kill someone with a magic wand and I said I'm going to cast Abacadabra on you, I don't have a person that just grabs me by the neck. Dude had a warrant on him. Dude was arrested. Okay, well, I'm trying to judge this from a legal point of view, not a moral point of view. All right, like I'm not judging this morality. I'm asking, did he actually put people in a life or death situation? That's my question. Like, did he actually was he actually about to murder someone? He threatened them, and that is enough in the USA. Okay, well, what state was he in? Because it's okay, he was in New York, right? So I'd have to look at the laws of New York. Like, if what you're saying is true, then the Marine should be found not guilty. Like, if he actually like if you're allowed to use lethal force, okay? Like, if you're allowed to use lethal force just because someone threatens, then he's going to be found not guilty. Hopefully, like, that is the law. But does seem a little bit peculiar. I think it may not be the law. Like, I don't think like someone can verbally threat someone else and then someone can go like pulls out the gun, bang, bang, bang. I mean, if it's the case, it's the case, because I don't know the law in New York. The guy didn't intend to kill him. He was trying to pacify him. Yeah, but like then you get a lesser sentence. Like, for example, you can drive your car and you don't intend to run over someone, but you do. Like, you still go to prison. But it's a lesser sentence than if you actually purposefully do it. Unintended homicide, is that a thing? Yeah, but like, people keep saying the long police record. Like, did the Marine know about the long police record? Like, was he trying to do a citizen arrest because he knew the guy was wanted by the cops? Like, we're talking about from a legal perspective. Chat, please, just for 1 second, like, switch your brain to legal, right? You're the judge. You're presiding over a case. A person is brought before you, right? Like, the person has strangled another human being, and you have to decide, is it self-defense? Was it justified or not, right? The fact that the person had a huge warrant is only relevant if the other person even knew about it. And even then, it may not be relevant. So the question is, like, was someone's life in legitimate danger? A verbal threat is in itself an assault. Like the question is this. All right, let's put it differently. If there's a bar fight and you strangle someone to death and you're like, okay, well, I was just trying to protect other people. Even if the person that was in the bar fight was threatening that he's going to assault others or whatever, right? I'm just asking the chat. The chat is getting so angry at me. Why do I always have the light prop in the background and I never use it? Because it gets people to ask, and by asking, you're driving comments. You're driving the algorithm to me. In the US, we have involuntary manslaughter and neglectful homicide for when you don't intend to kill someone. Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, I'm pretty sure he didn't intend to kill him, right? But the question is, like, was it, like first of all, they're going to have to decide if the amount of time he choked the person, like, if anyone could survive, right? Because like when you're choking someone, you have to understand that at one point that they may die, so you have to let off the choke, right? But secondly, it's whether or not the person was in a justified reason to react. Let's put it like that. If I was on the jury, I would invoke jury nullification. Oof. It was a hold, not a garrote. Well, I guess we're going to see at the trial, right? I don't think like the trial is going to be televised, but I would need to look up at the legislation of New York. Again, I'm not talking from a moral point of view. I'm talking from a legal point of view. Like legally speaking, was he in the right or not? Right? V, in the same parts of the US, says the person that doesn't have money because he needs to buy a truck. Stop donating. If you do that, warrant self-defense because the victim doesn't know your mental state when you make the threat, and if you approach them, it's fight or flight mode. Well, again, if what you're saying is true, then he should be found innocent, right? The laws in my country are quite different. So, like, the laws in my country is based on... the way we interpret a threat in Romania is if the threat is reasonable, right? So, it has to be credible. Like, if a 9-year-old child comes up to you and threatens you, that's not a threat. Like, the 9-year-old child is unable to do anything to you, right? If someone comes with a voodoo doll and says that they're going to puncture the thing until you fall over, that's not a threat. If someone from the internet from Brazil threatens you, it's the same shit, you know? Like, it's very unlikely. It's not believable. The question is, like, would a normal person be afraid in that situation, right? Is it credible? Now, for example, if a person with a backpack says that they have a bomb, that's a credible threat. Because they may, right? Like, it may convince people that they do. So, you know, a drunk person acting in a subway without any weapons, and then he's... It could be. It could be. Depends on what the other passengers would say. Let's just allow trial by combat. But, like, can you get a representative? Like, how does it work? Can you select a champion? But anyway, right, so this wasn't the thing that I wanted to talk about. The thing that I wanted to talk about is that there is now a crowd fund for the person in the New York subway, for the Marine. And what's interesting is that Tim Pool and many other right-wingers, they're saying that, no, we will not donate to him because he chose to live in New York City. I mean, this is the most divisive thing that I have ever seen. Like, look. So I don't like to criticize. Like, I'm not going after Tim Pool because he's not the only one. This is the popular argument, right? So Marine veteran to be charged in the death, right, report. Live by the sword, you chose to live in this city. That is shocking. Like, that is how you just divide the day. The Russians during the Cold War didn't manage to do it to the United States as what the woke are doing it. Right? So now you have Tim Pool going, why would I donate to urban liberals who choose to live this way? Dude, if you walk into a burning building, don't call out for me to help you if you get burned. Yeah, but Tim, let me put it this way, buddy, pal. The chance of you being in the chance of me being in a burning building and you saving me are slim to none. You do not seem the type of individual that runs into a burning building. That Marine does seem like the type of individual that would run into a burning building. So what you are signaling to people is that if you are in a burning building, people shouldn't defend you because then they may endanger their situation. Thomas, thank you for being a member for 6 months of 6 months of regret. Can't wait for the next 6. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, choose to live there is an American mentality. I don't know. Like, maybe it's possible, you know? Maybe it is true that the guy, you know, he voted Democrat. And he chose to live in New York City and all of that stuff. Like, perhaps it's true, but, like, to judge it in such a manner is astonishing. Like, and then I bet, I am willing to bet, well, I don't know, but I'll have to watch Tim Pool in order to see, because eventually it will happen, right? Like, eventually it will happen. You will have a crime committed in a subway, and no one would do anything. Like, no one would help. You know, like, you're going to have maybe a heinous crime being committed. Like, someone getting mugged or shanked or whatever, like, in the middle of a subway. And no one will do anything. And Tim Pool will be like, oh my god, well, how can it happen? Like, why is no one doing anything? And it's going to be because of rhetoric like that. And again, it's not Tim Pool. It's not Tim Pool. It's like a lot of people. A lot of people. Like, they're like, oh, if I want to donate to his legal defense fund, I would have to see who he voted for, and I would have to see a complete disown of the Democrats and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, like, Jesus, man. Tim would fill the burning building saying this is World War III and beg for more money. You know, like, the idea that Tim Pool would go after anyone in a burning building is interesting. Like, I just don't see it. You know, maybe he would, but I don't see it. If he ever does, I will have to come up and apologize. And I'll be like, oh, God, like, I was so wrong. I never misjudged someone as much in my life as when I misjudged Tim Pool. I think he already says why no one protects the women. Well, there you go. I just, you know, it's just fascinating. I guess it's like the clickbaity position to have. But, I just, you know, like, at the end of the day, I don't care how a person votes, right? Like if a person votes only Democrat, but, like, they tried to stop a crime. And again, like, maybe, like, even if they're guilty, right? Like, they try to stop a crime and they go overboard, right? Like, they still deserve legal counseling. They still deserve a lawyer. Like only the left does this. Like, the left was actually justifying Trump not getting a lawyer. Like, that's fucking insane, you know? Like, even in the most authoritarian places of the world, like North Korea or Somalia or the Soviet Union, you still got a lawyer. Tim has already adopted the position to not help others on the subway if you live in cities after someone got hurt in a subway. Yeah, but, like, again, I'm wondering if when something really bad happens in a subway, if Tim Pool will say, oh, why didn't anyone do anything? Right? Because that's the question. It's really... It's the most divisive thing that I can think of, right? It's like, now you don't have Americans. Now you have Americans that live in the cities and Americans that are like Tim Pool who live in mansions, and the people in mansions get to judge the people who live in the cities. And if it's something bad happens to you in the city, then you deserve it because you live there. It is just mind-boggling. Like, I can't even imagine how a nation can function with that type of mentality. Tim will claim civil war for the 57th time. Well, isn't it with World War III now? Tim would have to be in a subway to begin with. That's another thing, right? Like, millionaire Tim Pool probably doesn't use public transport. I feel the same way to an extent. The reason is why, because a lot of black in Chicago's are complaining about the illegals moving in, and I'm like, don't you vote in Democrat? Yeah, but, like, that's different, you know? Like, on one hand, we're talking about the consequences of your voting, right? Which is about, like, getting enrichment, like getting people, diverse people into your town and changing the culture and whatnot, right? But on another hand, we're talking about the person. Like the Democrats are campaigning on diversity and mass immigration, but they're not campaigning on allowing crime to happen. Like the mayor from Chicago, right, didn't say that looters are a victim of society and we should have compassion for them until he got elected, right? Like, only after did he get elected did he start saying that. So, I can't think that they're the same. Like, if you try to stop a crime from happening, it's not the same as living with, in a community where migrants happen. If it was him getting hurt, yes, he'd say, why didn't anyone do anything? That's another question. Yeah, like, that's a good question. But, like, I think, like, he would probably say that if he got hurt, he at least tried to move away from the popular places, right? So he did try to move away from the cities. So like technically he wouldn't be a hypocrite. But the problem is like not everyone can afford moving away from a city. And even the people who can afford, like, moving away is difficult because you have a family, you have relationships there, you may have a job there. Like, it's not so simple. You know, if you make internet commentary and you just happen to move out, then it's simple. Let me give you another thing that Temple did, which is a little bit hypocritical. During the pandemic, and even like during the riots, he was saying that why don't cops quit their job, right? So he was very like he had it very simple, like cops should quit their job. But the moment YouTube started updating their TOS on election misinformation, on COVID policies, right? Did Tim Pool quit his job? Did Tim Pool start talking the truth? Because you can watch his content before and after the TOS, and you can notice a startling difference, right? Now, the thing is, I'm not judging a content creator for following the TOS of the platform. Because I do it too. It's like how you can have an account. If you do not follow the TOS, you get banned. But if you're actively saying other people should lose their jobs for their convictions, right? Like if you have strong convictions, you should just stick to them, and even if it costs you your job. If you're going to have that mentality, then at least you should live by it yourself. And there have been content creators that have. Computing Forever, for example, right? Like Computing Forever went on BitChute, and he continued his convictions over there. You know, like he talked about whatever he believed in the pandemic. But he did it on a platform where he got less money. But he managed to speak his truth, and he got several guests there that were very proeminent and stuff. He's got member-only segments on his website where they can say whatever he wants. Yeah, Kamaras, but I'm willing to bet if tomorrow YouTube has a new TOS, which basically states that they're going to monitor off-platform behavior, do you think he's going to still do that or not? Do you think he's still going to have like the member-only thing and he's going to talk about everything they want if YouTube cracks down on it? I don't think so. But that's not my point, okay? Like, my point is, you can't tell other people to quit their job for not following their convictions when you yourself aren't willing to do the same. And honestly, like, Tim Pool is a millionaire. Like, most police officers, they don't have millions of dollars in the bank. They don't have a mansion in the middle of nowhere. It's his own website. It doesn't matter. Patreon, for example, monitors off-platform behavior. Twitch does so as well. So if you have your own website and it's popular and someone rats you to Twitch that you're violating their community guidelines on that website, they will ban you, right? So I'm surprised YouTube hasn't done it yet, but I wouldn't be shocked if they do in the future. Tim's solution is no different than Scott Adams. You know the risk of living in a city. The only solution is to leave. Yeah, but I don't think Scott Adams would victim blame someone, right? Like if someone gets beaten up in a city, I don't think Scott Adams would go like, nah, see, I told you to leave. Nah. It's like, not everyone can afford to leave. That's my point. I mean, yeah, sure, you know, the perfect solution, because you look at the rich people, right? Like the lady that was in charge of BLM, right? Like, she doesn't live in a predominantly black area. Like she went and got a house in a white neighborhood that's very safe and gated community and shit, right? So, like, rich people, yeah, they can afford to leave, you know? Like, if you're rich, you're not going to have to do... You're not going to have to deal with any of this shit. Because you can just move in an area that's very safe, you know? And if that area becomes dangerous, you have money to move again. But most people don't. Like, for example, I don't consider myself to be poor. But if I were to have to just go to another city, it would be very, very difficult. Because my wife, for example, has a job here in this town. It costs money to leave. It costs time to sell your house. Computing Forever, what happened to him? I woke up one day and he seemed to have switched his whole ideology. I don't know what ideology he has. I think he found religion, unironically. And he started talking about the pandemic. But some of the things he was saying were true, but other things were hyper exaggerated. And he went and did the thing on BitChute. I think you can still have like his BitChute account and stuff, but yeah, it's I don't know his current ideology though. I do know that he has one of the most popular BitChute channels. Tim's answer to this is: can you afford to defend your life from the state when they try to crush you from defending yourself? Man, Tim Pool can't either. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? How many times did he get swatted? Like, it's such a... My fucking god, like, sitting on an armchair and just spewing these talking points is so fucking easy. Anyone can do it. I can just spew the most outrageous talking points as well. You know, it's not that difficult. The question is are they practical? Right? Like, they're probably not. Computing Forever is a Christian now. He still has his entertainment channel, the Dave Collins Show. Yeah, it's pretty much what I thought. Elon Musk just handed Twitter over to the World Economic Forum. Yeah. So from what I heard from behind closed doors, is that Twitter is losing a lot of money and it's not profitable, and it's not sustainable basically because like Elon has to pay it from his own pocket. Even with all the firings that he did, and even with all the changes, Twitter is still losing money. Despite what the PR says, he's still losing money. Now, he tried Twitter Blue. Apparently, it wasn't that successful. So now the only chance of getting Twitter back is to either sell it to someone else or try and get the advertisers back. So in order to try and get the advertisers back, he's getting this lady, which is well connected to the World Economic Forum. I personally do not know if Twitter is going to become worse than it was under Jack Dorsey. I personally don't think so. But I mean, I genuinely don't think it's going to go back to the way it was, and I do not think it's going to be worse than YouTube. But you know, I can't predict the future. Basically, it's what I'm copium on. Yeah, I mean, it is concerning. You know, he still owns Twitter, like he's still in charge of Twitter. But like this lady is going to try to get the advertisers back. I don't know. You know, I did listen to what she said. It's very concerning. She seems to be like a very savvy corporate woman, talks in corporate speak nonstop, waves her hands around like she's casting spells and doing jutsu. Yeah, I mean, Elon at this point doesn't have any choice. Like from what I understand, if my sources are correct. He's like, Twitter is losing too much money. He needs the advertisers. Twitter Blue isn't successful. He's trying alternative methods of monetization, like allowing to give super chats to people and you get to take a percentage of that. You know, like that type of stuff. He's probably getting pressured from the government as well. Like the European Union is pressuring Twitter to change. So there's like a lot of pressuring, and this is like the PR stunt which he does. He's taking like this very famous leftist lady, making her the CEO so that companies come back and advertise on Twitter. How will this affect the end user? I don't know. We'll see. Honestly, like the worst thing that could happen would be the removal or the control of the community notes, right? So community notes so far have been amazing. Like everyone has been fact checked, the left and the right. If they create an algorithm to ban the community notes or to restrict them or to only push the ones that they like or to influence them in some way, I would call that a major L. Because right now Twitter is the best place to get information. Google is heavily censored. The search engine is a pitch engine. It's not a search engine anymore. The other search engines that they're also starting to censor. So the best place where you can get actual information from is Twitter. But unfortunately, that may not last for long. Did she vote for Trump? I don't know. And even if she did vote for Trump, who the fuck cares? Probably women or teenagers kind of like Hassan, but one is obviously more buff than the other. There are many women that legitimately say they watch Hassan because he's hot. Like, I have seen that on Reddit. And I'm talking about a lot of women, not just a couple. Yeah, look at this. This is very interesting. Like someone pointed out. So this is Lilith, how she looks like in Diablo 4. And this is what people say that Lilith should have looked like. Or how I would have liked her to look like. I actually know the artist at Blizzard, which tried to have... like he was initially asked to create Lilith. And he didn't make her like this. But she definitely had like more feminine features. Like she didn't have like this straight jaw. Her shoulders weren't as broad. And you know, like I seen the first design. Like she definitely looked more feminine. She wasn't arousing, but she was definitely like more feminine look. And Blizzard definitely didn't like that, so they created whatever this is. And I feel like she even has smaller boobs. Lilith looking like this would actually add more to the story, in my opinion, because the male brain, you look at something like this and you're like, you need to protect. So protect mode, right? And having like something that's very evil, but looks gorgeous and looks beautiful, that makes it a lot more difficult to fight that evil. If that makes sense. Like in the Bible, for example, and priests will tell you this, Satan is considered to be very beautiful. Like he's the most beautiful angel, actually, right? Because that's how he can manipulate. So like in the first act where you have Lilith coming to the church and she's like manipulating all those worshippers, if she looked like this, it would make a lot of sense from a story point of view. Like you would understand why the people in Sanctuary all of a sudden like renounce their faith and everything they know because of this. Because you have like the temptation that's there. This doesn't speak to me. This is like, right? Like you're not using the visuals to tell the story. Like you want me to believe that Inarius, an angel, fell in love with this. Why? There's literally no fucking reason. I guess he had Stockholm syndrome, right? But it would have been far more believable if she looked like this. Right? But like for some reason this is evil in media now. Like this is considered heretical. You're not allowed. Like it's unthinkable. Like what do you mean? A villainess to look like that? Nonsense. She must look like this. Right? It's just like, yeah. You don't like the thing is you don't have to make her look like the white hair chick, but I think it would actually add to the story rather than distract. Yeah, maybe Inarius was blind, definitely. That second version just looks like an anime character. So what? But like that's not the point. The point is that you can make a Western character that looks like that, and it would still be haram. Lilith doesn't look that bad. Get the fuck out. You know, if you think that Lilith doesn't look that bad, you haven't played any games from the 90s. Like, you have, like, the pixelated graphics that make female characters look better. Andariel from Diablo 2 looks better than Lilith. Lilith does not look like a woman. What the fuck? Dude, are we talking about the same character? Let me find a more accurate picture, because I think like that's even the one that didn't go into the game. The one into the game like has even smaller breasts and broader shoulders, and the jaw, man, like the jaw is just whatever, you know. Like I guess, you know, it's a matter of taste. Like if people like the character of Lilith, if you're that passionate about her, you know, like more power to you. I find her to be bland, unappealing, ugly. I'm actually realizing why I don't like Diablo 4 as much. And it has to do with the fact that the character creator makes such ugly characters, like unbelievably ugly, that I do not have any attachment to them. Like in Diablo 3 and the other Diablos, the characters actually look presentable. So you kind of like knew how your character looks like, and you had an attachment to it. But here they're absolutely disgusting and vile, and I am repulsed by the characters to the point that I mental block them. That they like the first thing that I do when I create a character in Diablo is like try to find a helmet to put it on their head, so I don't know how they look like. And that creates like a bland game, right? Because like the character feels like it has no more personality now, just because like you just want to erase it from your mind. It's not really a matter of taste to eat the poo poo. I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, like the thing is, and I noticed this, when they started with the feminismus in 2016. At first, they made all the female characters dress up all the way to their neck, right? So like that was the step one. Like when DC Comics released like their I think it was like after New 52. Like what was it called? Like, whatever. They had like Wonder Woman dressed all the way to the neck, and all the other female characters were like heavily dressed, heavily clothed, right? So that was step one. Step two was shrinking the breasts, and now all characters look like they have titty cancer. And step three is that now like they're just making them masculine to the point where someone photoshopped Tila with smaller hair and no makeup. She looks like a man. Let's see if I can find the, because I think like my here we go. So this is Tila without the hair and makeup, right? So this is Photoshop from this. Like this is the picture, right? And someone said, all right, well, what if we add the same hair, like on the right, we add it everywhere, and we remove the lipstick, and yeah, that's how she looks like. She looks like this. And it's not just her. It's like many other female characters. If you remove the long hair, you remove the makeup and everything like that, they look like this. It's just like like it's not even about sexualization at this point, right? Like it's not even saying, well, this character is hypersexualized, you know, like it doesn't make sense that she's wearing a bikini armor or whatever. No. It's like they're making male characters female. It's just weird. As long as they female Adam's apple right. Oh, I see. Feminists went so far left that they went far right. I mean, you know, like if you talk about representation and stuff, like what woman, these characters cannot be cosplayed by women properly. Like an actual woman cannot cosplay Tila. It's fucking impossible. Like no woman has those bulging muscles, that strong jawline, those broad shoulders. It's not even like the intentional opposite of sexualization. It's I don't even know what it is, honestly. I genuinely like do not know what it is. Like you can draw women that aren't say, like for example, Marjorie. No, not Marjorie. The Queen of Thorns from Game of Thrones, right? She's not sexualized, but she's like a strong, capable woman. But we don't see that. You know, like the Queen of Thorns in Game of Thrones, she's strong because of her intellect, charisma, way of manipulating, controlling her house. And she comes off as intelligent as well. Like, you do not get to see that anymore in media, which is sad. When is the Black Mermaid coming out? Because I heard rumors that Disney is not happy with the internal reviews for it. My game will have lots of boobs. Yeah, I mean, I will definitely like increase the amount of boobage in the world, in the video gaming world, by 2 now, just because of how everything else is like. Is there really a Transformer coming out? Yeah, I heard they're making another Transformers movie. I think it already is. Can you imagine if a Disney movie comes out and like I don't even hear about it because I'm so not interested in it? So Little Mermaid official trailer. Aladdin star scrubs Twitter after. Oh, maybe it's out because actors are complaining about harassment. So the PR thing is beginning. The Little Mermaid fans are praising the historical dolls of Hollywood. Dude, Little Mermaid fans are children. How can they be praising historical dolls? Like, do you want me to believe that kids who skip history class are actually like Googling it to like, let's see, Barbie historical dolls, and they're praising them? Surely this is not a Disney push. This is not a Disney PR thing. No. It's like little children are actually like, all right, let's look at the history of Barbie dolls online. Oh my God, they're so progressive. Look, they casted them properly. Little Mermaid first reviews flood in after film's premiere. Official critic, I don't care. Official critic, I don't care. Official critic, I don't care. Yeah, so like we only get the official critics. And they all use the word fantastic. Yeah, it's so fucking interesting that this website doesn't notice. Literally, all the official critics are using the word fantastic in their review. Ha! It's like a cry for help. It's like, let's all use a word. Not a single negative review. Wow, must really be a great movie, isn't it? It means the world to me, she said, especially for the beautiful babies to be able to see a reflection of themselves. These people literally believe, unironically, like these critics, unironically believe that all black people are alike. That if you put a black person on a Hollywood screen, all black people see themselves. How the fuck is this not a racist statement? How do they manage to get away with this racism? So you must believe that all black people are the same, to the point that if you put one black actress on the big screen, all black people see a reflection of themselves. It's just like, God. Time to smash that mirror. Well, you know, American Outlier is probably happy. Like, he finally can go to the Little Mermaid and he can see a reflection of himself. Oh, God. Is he still here? I think he's not. You know what he's doing? He's watching the Little Mermaid. Like, before he goes to work, he watches the Little Mermaid to see the reflection of himself. Like, oh shit, I'm watching the Little Mermaid. Oh, her hair is unkept. I guess I got it. Yeah. Have black Americans talk to black Africans. These people need to fuck off. I can't. See, I don't think the Little Mermaid is a reflection of American Outlier. She doesn't curse. She doesn't have a potty mouth. Maybe I don't like looking at my own reflection. Oof. That is a good point. You know, like what if someone doesn't have self-confidence or imposter syndrome or shit like that, and they don't like looking at their own reflection? Why are you doing this to me? Like, imagine going to a movie and you have to look at a reflection of yourself for 2 hours. You're like, fucking hell. Why do I... You know, like, some people just genuinely don't like seeing themselves. Like, for example, I don't like my voice. Like, seriously, if there was something that I could change about myself, it would be my voice. I don't like that it's high-pitched, but what can I do? It's my voice, you know? At least I don't have to listen to it. Like, it sounds differently when I speak it, but when I look at a YouTube video and I hear myself, I'm like, fucking hell, how do I have 159 people watching? So imagine, like, going to a movie where you have to listen to yourself for 2 hours. Like, that is cringe as fuck. I have a spine disease. I guess I need heroes that have spine disease too. Oh, what's more interesting is that they will say that if a hero has autism, then the actor playing it needs to have autism as well, right? If the hero is transgender, the author playing it needs to be transgender as well. So I'm like, okay, so what do you do with Charles Xavier? Do you need to get a person stuck in a wheelchair? And if the answer is yes, what do you do if, like, you have a script? Like Charles Xavier can walk in the beginning, but then he loses his ability and now he's in a wheelchair. Like, do you cripple the actor? Like, what do you do? You know, it's like, okay, stay over there so we can, you know, like... 90% of people hate their voice? I guess, maybe. Isn't the prince adopted in The Little Mermaid? He is white and his mom is black. Did they make the mother of the prince black? So the mother of the Danish prince is also black? That is so progressive. I really hate that America has to export their racial politics and history. The American experience with race does not apply to the rest of the world. But I'll tell you something interesting, right? The N-word. The N-word does not exist in Sweden, right? Like, it's an American concept. But if you're a Swedish person and you use it, you get fired. How the fuck does that make sense? Can anyone explain this to me, right? So like, Sweden didn't have, like, the American slavery in their country. They didn't use the N-word. They didn't have, like, the plantations and anything like that. Like, that's an American thing, right? So Sweden, it doesn't even have the word in its language. But if you use the English word, you get fired. Like, that is an excellent way of America exporting its culture to other places. It's just like, mindfucking, you know, like... Here in Romania, we don't have that. Like, the equivalent of an N-word does not exist in the Romanian language. Like, there is absolutely nothing that I can say in Romanian that even out of context would get someone fired. Like in Romanian, there are slurs, and they can get you in trouble, but you have to use them in a specific way. Like, you have to use a certain context. Simply singing rap lyrics or parroting what someone else has said is not going to get you into trouble. At least not yet. I mean, I don't know how the future is like. But if I were to say in Romanian, like, this guy called this other person such and such, and I, like, repeat, that's fine. You know, I can use, like, whatever homophobic, racist, ethnic thing, as long as it's within a context that makes it okay. So, like, reporting the news, right? Like, some person said something vile, and I say it, because we don't fuck around like children. Like the idea of the letter word is the most absurd American concept. Like, they used it with the word fuck, right? So back in the day, using the word fuck on TV was the same as saying the N-word. But sometimes you have to say it. So you have to say it when repeating the news. Like, for example, Billy said fuck, and because of that, his mother spanked him, right? Like, that is the news. So you have to report it. And the reporter would be like, Billy said the F word. Now, the person knows what word he's talking about, right? The person listening knows what word he's talking about. Both have the word in their head, but you can't articulate it. You need to be like a fucking child, like a 5-year-old. And then it's like the rap lyrics, right? So the rap, the lyric itself, like, that's fine. The rap, it gets to go through, right? Like, there's no censorship. The rapper doesn't get fired. None of that happens. Like, that's perfectly okay. But if someone parrots the lyrics, they get fired, making rap the most dangerous music in the fucking world. And don't give me the bullshit, because I hear the bullshit. It's like, oh, black people have appropriated the word, so it's fine when they do it, because it's like the way they have a one-up over their overseers. Okay, that would be correct if they would only use it in an appropriate manner, but they insult each other with a fucking word. Like every single time you get like a ghetto fight, you know, like on Twitter, and you see like someone like filming something that happens in the ghetto, they use the word almost instantly. It's like almost on the tip of the tongue, ready to flip out. And they use it as an insult, as a pejorative thing towards someone. How is that like co-opting in order to own the white man? Like like that just doesn't fucking exist. I don't understand it. The only reason this is applied is to get power over other people. Like if you play League of Legends and someone else uses that word, you now have power over them to ban them and get them off the platform. But like that's literally it. And the thing that I don't get is like, if this is how Americans like to have their culture, that's perfectly fine. I don't get like why it's important to Sweden and why the Swedish put up with it. Like they don't even have the same context. They don't even have like the same racial division that the United States have and all of that. It's just like, oh, America is so great. We want to live like Americans. Let's import the worst things from their culture. Let's import them over here. And I'm telling you, like when Italy decided to ban anything that's not Italian from official documents, woke people like the academics and all of the others are going to have a field day trying to justify how they can push their ideology. Because like a lot of woke terms are English in nature. They don't even bother translating to the targeted language. Like Latinx, for example, has no translation in Spanish. In fact, most Spanish people think it's a slur. So they don't even bother like trying to make appropriate words for their language. Like for example, the word gay does not exist in Romania. Like we have the word homosexual, but the activists don't want us to use homosexual because they think it's a slur and it's prejudice or some shit. So they want us to use gay. They want us to literally import word for word the American concept into Romanian. Patriarchy, right? When it's translated into Romanian, it sounds patriarchatul. It's like weird. Like the word makes you think of the church, right? Like the church has the patriarchy, which is like the in the Orthodox culture is like the synod, if you will, the ones that make it has nothing to do with the patriarchy of what they're referring. These people wanted to be coddled and validated by liberals. That's when saying the N-word is now justified with you getting attacked. Yeah, I mean, the idea that like words are violence, but actual violence needs to be tolerated is repressive tolerance. Herbert Marcuse wrote about it. It's basically like anything right-wingers do should be stifled, even if it's peaceful. Everything the left does, even if it's violent, should be tolerated. So it's repressive tolerance. But it's I remember a few years ago, queer used to be a slur. Yeah, I mean, they just decide what is a slur, and sometimes like something that's not a slur becomes a slur, and something that used to be is fine. People of color and colored people, like you notice that these are just language games in order to train you to say the appropriate things. Like this is the whole purpose of political correctness, is to force you to learn that if you say certain things, you can be fired. Yes, I know patriarchy is not patriarchat, but if you go on Romanian feminist website, they use patriarchat. I'll stiff your sausage sandwich. Okay, I think it's time to end the stream because I've already been streaming 2 hours with Arch, 1 hour with you guys. Hopefully you have been entertained. I know I robbed American Outlier blind. Thank you for the super chats, but I don't know what you're going to do with the truck now. And see you guys in the comment section. Take care.